Welcome to the One Hand at a Time podcast. I'm your host, Chris Welton. And today I have a special guest. We're like brothers from another mother on different continents, but we really went through the same challenge running a race called High Rocks recently. So if you follow me or this isn't your first time, you know the High Rocks series is something that's near and dear to my heart. And I saw this guest on Instagram on some reels, and I was like, I'm going to reach out and see if we can have a conversation. So I know we're going to get into some really good stuff about High Rocks and just being different. And that's just because that's just who we are. So welcome to the show, Anthony.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's all my pleasure. So, let's just start with why High Rocks? What made you want to do a High Rocks competition?
Well, I've been doing running and athletics all through my kind of para athletics all through my life. And I recently last year got into CrossFit. So that was kind of weightlifting. But
Yeah,
I actually made it to the CrossFit finals in Texas.
nice.
But I found when I got to the finals, I could only lift with one arm and all the other guys were
Yeah,
lifting with two arms. So I was kind of got left behind a little bit. And then
yeah,
one of my friends, Dave, said to me, mate, there's this thing called High Rocks. It's running and kind of heavy workouts all combined together. You would smash it because it's like everything that you are. So I thought,
yeah,
I'll give that a go.
yeah.
And yeah, it kind of it's all of my strengths in one race.
Yeah, I have a friend of mine, Logan Aldridge, who's a limb difference amputee like myself, and he's a Peloton instructor. And
Mm.
I was watching him do some stuff, so I texted him. I'm like, "Tell me about this." He's like, "Chris, you got to do it. You got to do it. Like, you got to go do it, man. Like, you got to understand." Like, and he was just so excited about telling me to go do it. And I'm like, "Okay, so I'll register for it, right?" And I do it, and then I started training for it. And I'm not a runner. Like I've run a marathon, I've run a bunch of half marathons, but I'm not a guy that can just like I'm 6'5", 260 pounds, right? I'm a big man, right? Like I was not built for speed. I can move all the weight in the world, but I wasn't built for speed. Um,
Yeah.
so training and trying to get my head wrapped around it, um, I was really nervous, to be honest with you, the first time I went to compete. I mean, how
Yeah.
did you feel the first time you went to High Rocks?
Very kind of nervous because the first time I went, they hadn't really created a rule book for the adaptive athletes.
Yeah.
So I just went, oh, I'll do the normal one. It's only eight 1Ks. I've done several races, 10K races. So I thought I'd
Mhm.
just give it a go. And I actually did the full thing. And I got to 8K in, and then I got to the walking lunges and I got cramping in my legs. And
Yeah.
it was brutal and it was hard. And then after that, I found out, oh, they've now created the adapted version, and the
Mhm.
adapted version is kind of not as intense as the full version. So I thought, if I can get through a full version, the adapted version should be okay. So that's how I kind of got into it. And then I did
Yeah.
the adapted version. It was amazing.
So, it's obviously for me, I was born with missing my left arm, and I've been that way my whole 53 years on the planet, right? Um, and I was an athlete. That's why I say I played baseball growing up and football, and I wrestled and I did all these things. I never let that get into the way of me, letting it define who I was. Now, there was
Yeah,
no social media when I was a kid, so you didn't get any support or anything like that, right? You would show up to play, and people would go, "Oh gosh, what's this kid going to do?" And I would go compete, is what I would do, right? You know what I mean? That's just what I did. So walk me through you, like what makes you different? What is it that puts you in?
um,
Yeah,
so I was born just your active normal child, always running around, always playing football, always very active. And I started to get really bad headaches,
mhm.
and I started to curl up in the ball and hold my head, and this screaming pain was inside my head. And after having numerous doctor's appointments, they just told me it was migraines and go away, you'll be okay. And after months, they did a brain scan. They found out I had a brain tumor that was shutting down my vital organs. So I had to have an operation immediately to take out this tumor. It was supposed to be just an operation just to remove this tumor and go back to a normal life. But during the operation, I suffered a stroke.
Yeah,
And this then paralyzed the whole of my left side. So I now can't use my left arm and very little use of my left leg. And they said to my parents, unfortunately, Anthony, he'll never run, he'll never be very active ever again. I'm only 6 years old, so that's kind of devastating to a child.
Yeah.
But I was very stubborn. I wanted to prove them wrong. If you tell a child you can't do something, they'll be like, "Yes, I can. I'll show you."
Watch me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was
Watch
my.
me.
I think, thankfully, it happened to me when I was young because I had that
Yeah.
kind of mentality. It's like, I will do it. I'll show you I can do it.
Yeah.
And I threw myself into sports. I've got two brothers who never gave me any leeway, so I was always competing with them. I went to an able-bodied school.
Mhm.
The teachers back then, they weren't really kind of trained to deal with someone with disabilities. So I used to get left out of PE lessons and things like that.
Mhm.
And even though we had like football games, soccer games, I was like, I
Yeah.
can't run around, but I'll go in goal. And they said to me things like, "You can't go in goal. You need two hands to go in goal." So
Heard that before. I've heard that
I'll
plenty of
stay away
times.
from
Yeah.
sport, really. It wasn't until secondary school we were doing a fitness test, and I just remember thinking to myself, "There's no way I can come last. It'd be too embarrassing. I just don't want to come last." So I just started running and chasing everyone. And out of 30 able-bodied kids, I came like 15th, and I can only use one arm and one leg.
Yeah.
And my teachers looked at me and went, "That was incredible. How did you do that?" I was like, "Just didn't want to come last." And he said to me, "Have you ever heard of the Paralympics?" I was like, "No, what's the Paralympics?" And he said, "It's like the Olympics, but for people with disabilities. You'd be incredible at that. You should really give it a go." But with my disability, I was so shy, self-conscious, and ashamed and embarrassed of who I was. I said to him, "I don't want to do a sport that shows off my disability.
Yeah.
That's something I definitely don't want to do." So he called my parents into the school and said, "Get that boy in a running club. Just get that boy in a running club." And my parents have always been told, "He won't be able to do this. He won't be able to do that. He can't do this. He can't do that." So for someone to tell them, "Do
To
it,"
do it. Yeah.
yeah. I just went out there. They found me a club. I joined a club, and that's where I kind of fell in love with athletics. Because now I realized actually I could do something. I found a coach, and she said, "I've never trained someone with a disability before, but I'm willing to learn. Let's see what you can do and what I can do to help you." And we actually ended up, I actually ended up getting to the Paralympic trials in 2012,
Oh, nice.
finishing fourth, just missing out on the Paralympics. But that was the flame that ignited this competitive side of me, and I wanted to see how far I could really go. It was after that my coach said to me, "You've really got some really good speed, but unfortunately for you, off the start line, you haven't got that kind of sharpness. It takes you a bit of time to build it up. So longer distance, I think, would be better for you." So she said, "Let's try 1,500 meters or 800 meters." And my reaction was, "That's a million miles. I can't run that far."
That's a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she was like, "How do you know you can't do it if you've never even tried?" So she moved me into the middle distance group, and this was where it kind of changed everything for me. I remember the first session, I was in a group full of like youngsters who were like 10, 6, 7. They were half the size of me, and I was probably about 18. But they were leaving me behind, and I was back in the group. We're doing 400-meter runs, and I was well behind. And I was like, "This is embarrassing. I can't do this." But I just made sure I did every single rep. And the coach said to me, "So how was it?" And I was like, "Awful." Even the youngsters were flying past me. And she just said to me, "You can't go in there and expect to be the absolute best when you haven't even put the work in." She said, "Give it a few more weeks, a few more months. And if you still hate it, you can always go back to sprinting." So I did. And I worked at it and worked at it. And after a few months, I think what was the biggest change to me is I actually started to believe actually I can do this. And I started going from the back of the group to the mid of the group, just from giving it a go, trying more and more and more. I realized actually I can do this, and your body adapts to doing it. And that year, I ended up representing England at the Cerebral Palsy World Games, where I won gold medal in the 1,500 meters and 800
Nice.
meters. And that's what flipped my mindset. It's like I was told I'd never run or be very active ever again. Now I'm fastest in the world for my category in 1500 meters. How much further can I go? And that's why I started pushing myself into 5Ks and 10Ks. And in 2024, I thought, what could be the biggest challenge ever? Like, what's the biggest running challenge? And I thought, marathon, the London Marathon is one of the biggest. So I thought, just put my name in, see what happens. I actually got a place. And this was by far the biggest, toughest challenge I've ever done. I trained hard for it. And actually, a few weeks before, I got an email saying, have you ever thought about going for a world record at a marathon? Here's all the categories you can look at. And it was like fastest person dressed as a chicken and things like that.
Yeah.
I was like, let me type in disabilities and see what comes up. And there was millions of disability categories. So I looked up one that said cerebral palsy, or someone who's had a stroke injury. And it was 5 hours 50. I was like, my half marathon's 2 hours. So I could try and beat that. Yeah. So I set off to do the marathon, and there's just a whole story inside that marathon. It didn't go to plan. It was the toughest thing ever, but I managed to complete the marathon, and I broke the world record by just 1 minute. I get 5 hours 49.
That's amazing. Like, I've run one full marathon. It was, until High Rocks, it was the hardest thing I'd ever done. The mental games inside of a marathon, half marathons are easy. When you get to a full marathon, the mental games are just, because at one point, Anthony, I for some reason I had convinced myself I was 23 miles in, and then I turned this corner and it was a 17-mile marker. And I just started to panic. Like, and I had pulled a hamstring early in the race. So my gait was different, and I'm getting blisters on my feet. My time is way slower than I was going to be. So my food intake was way higher. I was out of food. My wife had to meet me on the course with 2 Snickers bars to give me some calories. I still finished. I was literally the last one to cross the finish line before they shut the race down. Right. But I finished the race, and my feet will never be the same. Like, the blisters were just insane, but I have no interest in ever running a full marathon again. Like, it was like the training. I trained for 6 months. I did all these different things to be ready for it, but there was nothing to prepare me for the mental part of it.
Yeah. It's such a mind battle. It is crazy. And for me, I'm only using one side, so one arm and one leg.
Yeah.
And there's a story to the marathon. So I trained hard for this for a good 6 months, and I was feeling good. And I was like, I'm going to really smash this record and keep up my 2-hour pace. So we set off starting the marathon. It's going really good, well on pace, ahead of the world record pace. We get 10K in, and I wear a brace on my weaker leg to hold my ankle in place. And this brace has started digging into my leg, and it cut a slit into my leg, and it was rubbing up and down against that cut. So this cut was bleeding, it was sore. And I turned to my guide runner and I said, I'm going to have to take this brace off. And he said, mate, you've never run without it. Are you sure? We've got a long, long way to go. We've got 30K to go. And I was like, just take it off. I can't. It's so painful. So I took it off. Now I've lost all the support to my weaker side, and my ankle's just flailing like that while I'm trying to run. I'm getting no push from it. And my times have just dropped really slow. And my right side's now having to do even more work. So it's pushing and pulling. And that was 10K in, so 6 miles. And by 7 miles or 8 miles, because my right side's overworking, I completely drained all my energy sources. And we did a video log mile by mile. And by 8th mile, I was like, I'm knackered. Got no energy left. And he was just like, we've got a long way to go, mate. Just keep going on. So I kept just hobbling on, pulling myself along with my one side. And I got halfway and I was physically drained. Got to mile 15. I then got cramp in my good leg, the one leg that works. And now I've got cramp and one leg that can't give me anything back. So my arm's trying to drive and pull me through. I get to mile 16 and I get cramp in my good leg, in the quads, the hamstrings, and the calf. And I had no kind of supplements to take on because I hadn't practiced with gels. I didn't bring any gels with me. I just
Yeah.
ate tons of jelly babies.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then mile 18, I've got cramp in my good leg and I've got cramp in my bad leg. And my guide runner turns to me and goes, I think we have to pull out this race. You're in trouble. You're in a bad way. And I just said to him, no, we need to keep going. Because so many people have come to support me. I
Hmm.
couldn't let
Yep.
them down. And I was doing it on behalf of the Stroke Association. And I wanted it to be a story to inspire those people who are going through a stroke and things like that. So I just hobbled on. I had 8 miles still to go. So I'm hobbling on, hobbling on. And I get to the last mile, and my guide runner turns to me and goes, "And you've got 10 minutes to get to that finish line. A 10-minute mile is easy for you. Come on, pick it up." But both my legs were dead. I was in pain. I could hardly move. So I just hobbled on. And in London, you get to the last 200 meters and you turn and you can see the finish line at the end of the mile, which is where Buckingham Palace is.
Mhm.
And you can see it there. And he turns to me and goes, "And you've got 1 minute. It's now or never. It's history. It's now or never. If you want it, you go." And I don't know how I did it because I'm not wearing my brace. I have cramp in both legs. But I just started sprinting as fast as I could. And I literally got there with less than a minute to spare.
That's amazing. Look, I first of all, I love the fact that you put somebody else on it other than you, the reason why you were doing it, right? Like that's just a powerful statement. And that's the reason I do a lot of the things I do, because I want the kids or anybody else who's got a limb difference to see that don't be defined on what limitations people put on you. Go get your own, right? Like figure that out. So I love that part. But I just did a TED talk recently, and I taught this thing called the adversity backpack. And it's this backpack that everybody carries around with them. It's got all the bad stuff that's happened to them. And the challenge is to put the good stuff in there too, so we can pull that out when we need it. So I'm curious,
Mm.
how many times have you gone back to that memory of breaking that record and said, if you're when you're in a tough spot, well, I broke the world record in marathon. This isn't really that tough what I'm facing today.
That's what can get me through a high rocks.
Yeah.
Like what got me through that marathon is I remember being a 6-year-old in that hospital bed, crying in pain, having injections every day. Most ordinary children are playing in the playgrounds, playing in the
Mhm.
sand pits, playing with their
Yep.
toys. I was in hospital bed going through that pain. And I always say to myself, nothing will ever be as painful as what I went through back then. So what I'm going through right now, it will pass. Just get through it. I
Yeah.
also
It's
remember
so
I
go
also
ahead.
remember reading David Goggins' book, and what really resonated with me was the 40% rule.
Yep.
He said, when you think you're down and out and you've got nothing left, you're only 40% done. So I knew when I had cramp in my legs, if I kept going, I could just grind out that bit of extra percentage in me.
Yeah. I at High Rocks, I kept telling myself, how am I going to finish? One step at a time, one broad jump burpee at a time, one lunge at a time. Like that's how I'm going to finish. I'm I'm gonna get across that line. Like I'm gonna finish. They're either gonna I'm either gonna finish or they're gonna take me off in a stretcher. And I was doing sandbag lunges, and I had the sandbag on, and I've got this thing called the Aldridge arm, named after Logan Aldridge. It's a
I've got
strap,
one of
right?
those. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I've got it strapped on to hold the bag on.
Ah,
And
clever.
and what was happening is I was having to take such deep breaths, and I couldn't breathe as much because the strap was so tight on my chest. So I decided to loosen a little bit. When I did that, the sandbag shifted and put all of its all 40 pounds on my right side.
Mm.
I'm 20 meters from the finish of the sandbag lunge. I go down and I fall. I face plant on the ground. I'm laying there with this bag looking up at the sky. My wife is leaning over talking to me because she was there cheering me on the whole way through. And they're like, okay, you're done. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not done. I just fell. Let me get up. I'm not done. My wife's like, you need to get away from him. And all I can think about, this is how crazy, and it sounds like we have the same person in our mind. All I could think about, Anthony, was man, this is going to be such a good story now that I fell and I almost had gotten disqualified for what a great story this is. Oh my God, this is going to go in my adversity backpack and I'm going to share this with somebody else and they're going to use this to get somewhere else. Like that's all I could think about there. It wasn't about the pain I was feeling, the hurt. I literally got hurt on the first exercise on the
The
ski erg.
ski. Yeah.
Right. So I have a strap I put on my left arm and on my ski erg at my house that I have, and I do it evenly. Well, theirs wasn't compatible with that, and it slipped. And when it slipped, it twisted my back after the first kilometer run. So literally, I had to lay down after that and stretch before I could run again. So I was already in that spot, right? And I'm like, no, we're gonna get through this. I'm going to get up and I'm going to finish this. And I got up, strapped me back in, and I plowed through and finished. But my brain doesn't think about how bad it was going to feel if I didn't quit because I knew I wasn't going to quit. All I could think about was how cool this story was going to be because I fell now.
Yeah.
I know that's just like weird, but that's all I could think about, right? It's like,
Yeah.
there was never a doubt in my mind that I was going to finish. And it wasn't about time or anything else for me. It was about finishing the race, right? And for me, that was the ultimate challenge, was to finish High Rocks. The way, and I know you got the same support, I'm sure, but man, the fans love us, right? Like, I mean, they just love us. Like, and when I go in to do the wall balls at the end, I'm doing my 100 wall balls, and they put me in the very front up by the stage. And everybody's cheering, and I'm like, I don't, just leave me alone. Let me get my, like, I just want to finish. And they're counting it down on the microphone. I'm like, I just want to finish. Like, I don't need all this extra stuff, right? But when I crossed the finish line, as I fell over and just laid there for a couple minutes to regain my composure, I was like, I'm like, now what? What can I do next? Right, right. So I'm curious. So what does it look like? Like for me, for my adaptive division, what they do is they let me use adaptive tools for the sled pull. I still do the same weight, but I only have to do 25 meters. And then wall balls, I don't have to throw the wall ball if I don't want to. I can do 100 squats, which is what I chose to do. What do they do? How do they adapt to your division?
So my division, so what I struggled with is doing a one-arm push on the sled, because I started, if you push the sled that way, it will go that way.
Yeah.
So you push it that arm, it'll go that way. So I found a coach, and he put a belt across the top, and I put my chest against it and push with my chest and drive my legs. That helped loads. But I still have to do the full distance. But I have to do a lighter weight. So I would do 75 kilograms in the sled push. The sled pull, I do a one-arm pull, and that's 50 kilograms. For the kettlebell, I find probably the hardest for me is probably the kettlebell carry.
Oh God, dude!
Because your grip is disappearing every second, and you're like,
brother, like,
hold on.
Yeah, but I'm like, I think it's easier for the people to carry two than it is to carry one. Like
also because my whole core, this side is burning, and I'm like,
dude, Anthony, I'm telling you, like, yeah, my right leg, and I can imagine yours was the same way. My right leg, from carrying that kettlebell on that right side, that's 65 pounds of weight. I mean, I thought it wasn't going to be that big of a deal. That was really tough. It was really tough.
Because your core and your spine is well out of place, and it's heavy loading it burns.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, get me to the finish line. This is the worst bit. Also the lunges, because I carry the sandbag on one side. So all this weight is down the right side. And that's the tough part.
It is. And do you still do the 8 kilometers?
We do 400 meters runs, which is good.
Okay.
So I try and hit as fast as I can.
Yeah, no, I saw your time is super impressive. Like, I mean, it was really impressive. I was like, holy cow, that's so fast, dude. Like, yeah. Again, I ran as much as I could, but honestly, I used the runs to walk some to get my heart rate down for the challenges.
To recover, get your breath back. Otherwise,
You
you go
know,
straight into the next station. You're out of breath. You're useless, really. You need to
yeah.
get the breath back and the heart rate down a bit. So
Especially when you do what
yeah,
I call
recover.
the soul snatcher, the thing that's the most like the thing that will kick your butt the most is the broad jump burpees. I had no like I trained through those, and I was like, after I did like 6 or 7 of them in a row in the competition, I was like, whoa, these are really hitting me hard right now. I
I
hadn't
like
done
that.
all that workout leading up to them when I would train, but so it was like they really hit hard.
I did it. I practiced those over and over. So when I got to my recent one in London, um, when I got to the burpees, I was feeling all right, and actually overtook 3 or 4 able-bodied guys, and they just looked up and just saw me fly past, like, what is
Mhm.
going on here? Yeah,
Yeah,
no, but burpees I like because I don't do it the normal. I just throw myself on the ground, get back
yeah,
up, jump, throw myself on the ground. That's the only way I
yeah,
can do it.
yeah, yeah.
But if I push myself back up with one arm, so my arm is
And then
now
your arm
dead.
shot. It's shot.
Yeah,
Yeah. I know. That's what I tell everyone. I'm like, it is like your arm, my arm was just shot. Like, I mean, like multiple times, I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to miss. My arm's going to be the thing that stops me.
because the ski is a lot of lats and
Yeah.
triceps. Then the burpees, you got it's like
Mhm.
a push up, single arm
Yep.
push. Then
Yep.
straight after that, you're doing single arm rowing for 1,000,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
then you got to carry the kettlebell. And
Yeah.
I think my arm went numb at one point.
And then you got to put the sandbag on.
Yeah, and then
I'm like, can't they move that to earlier on the
yeah,
competition? I'm like,
and
yeah.
I do the wobbles with one arm as well. So
Yeah.
by
Nice.
little bounce, catch,
Yeah.
throw, bounce, catch, throw.
Yeah. But what a great experience. I mean,
Yeah,
and they really catered to me. They made me feel special, man. They were
that's
really
it.
they had my stuff set up when I got like they brought me down to the right sled. And that's where I passed a lot of able-bodied people was the sled. Like they were in there and I mean, I just like I'm just
Yeah,
big. I'm a bigger guy, right? Like, so I could push the sled like no problem, right? And then the
yeah.
one arm pull a sled, I could pull that sled like it's nothing, right? Like, I mean, that's just,
Mm.
but I did a lot of weight training for that. Like, I did a lot of lifting to be ready for that spot. Now, when I would do my broad jump burpees, I can broad jump like 2.5 meters or so. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
I can jump, right? I can jump. So I could, I just would gas out. So I'd have to take a break
exactly
for a
that.
second.
Because your lungs are bursting at that point. Like trying
Yeah.
to get that power in your legs while they absolutely mashed up is tough.
It is. It is. So all this stuff, like I call it the adversity accelerator, where I put myself in tough positions so I'm ready for when life throws obstacles at me or anything else. What is your daily like? What do you do? Like what do you do on the day to day? Like I mean, like what else? Like career wise, I'm a performance coach, I'm a keynote speaker, and I'm an author. Right? That's what I do for a living. Right? So like I'm going to be in Orlando next week speaking at a big conference. That's just what I've been blessed to do as, for a living. But like, what do you do?
So I work in a gym currently as a fitness instructor, and I teach exercise
Nice.
classes.
Okay.
And so it actually took me a long time to get a job in a gym. All gyms term. I qualified in 2011 as a personal trainer, and all my teachers were like, "Going to go on to do great things in the fitness industry. There's
Mhm.
not many trainers out there with a disability, and you could really kind of break down barriers." But every job I went to, they turned me down. They're like, "You're not what we're looking for. You haven't got the image we're looking for." I went through 60 job interviews, and they all said no, and they were saying the same things. And one guy said to me, he goes, "I'll be honest with you, you can't lift weights with 2 hands. How do you expect to teach others?"
Mm.
And I actually gave up trying to get a job in the gym, and I went and volunteered at the YMCA. And I was like, "Can you train me up? I'll do anything." So they took me on as a volunteer. They got me doing inductions and training people and teaching exercise classes. And I did that for 4 years, and still gyms were turning me down. It wasn't until about 5 years after I got just a job on reception in the gym,
Mm.
and by luck, I kind of got into the gym in the end because I was on reception, and one
Yeah.
day one of the instructors didn't turn up to teach her class, and the manager was like, "I've got a class full of people. I'm going to have to cancel all these people. What am I going to do?" I was like, well, I do this class. I can teach this class. I'm qualified, and I actually teach at the YMCA. She's like, oh, would you go up there and teach it? Blah blah blah. So I was like, definitely, I'd love to. Yeah, and so I'd been teaching these classes for voluntarily for a few years. So I went up there and I walked in. I was like, hi everyone, my name's Ant. I've been doing this for a few years. I'm a para athlete. This is going to be our session today. And all these women looked at me a bit confused, like. And as I turned around to turn all the music on, I could hear all these conversations behind me saying, like, what, he's teaching? Oh, no, no, I want to do a workout today. I'm going to go to the gym instead. Not sure about this. And as I turned back around, out of the 30 people, about 20 of them had left. And luckily I was reading this book at the time that was saying, always find the positives in negative situations.
Yeah.
So I looked around and I thought, screw those that are left. These 10 people have stayed. I want to give them the best class they've ever had. So I just really pushed it hard, gave them a great class. And they came up to me afterwards like, that was amazing. That was really great. And they were like red in the face. It just happened that this teacher was off for the next few months with sickness. And the manager was like, do you want to cover this class? Do you want to take it? Do you want to take this class? I was like, yes. And after the next few months, it got busier and busier and busier. And word started to spread around the gym. And then eventually, the manager's like, look, there's a position in the gym as an instructor. Do you want it? I was like, definitely, yes. So it took me about 10, 11 years to get a job in a gym. I did it a long way around, but I got there in the end.
Nice. I love that. So are you in London?
Yes.
Are you? Okay. Do you know Amy Truesdale?
No.
Who she is? Do you know who she is?
No.
Look her up on Instagram. So she's in London. She's a Paralympic athlete. She's won the gold medal in Japan in Taekwondo. She's missing her left arm like I am, and we became friends over social media. You should just Instagram, check her out. Like, I mean,
I will definitely 100%.
she's a beast. Like, she's super cool, and like, we became friends over social media too. That's just how it happened. So
amazing.
yeah, but she won the gold, and she's competing. You know, she's training right now for the next Summer Olympics to try to go back to back. So
yeah, I'll look her up.
She's a force, man. She's a force to be reckoned with for sure. But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely look her up and shoot her a DM. Tell her you're a friend of mine, and she'll talk to you for sure. She's awesome. We message all the time. I messaged her right before I went to High Rocks Dallas and said, hey, I'm going to go represent the limb difference, team limb difference out there at High Rocks. So, but great. That'd be a great person to connect with, just because she's just super cool, and she's an Olympic athlete too. So
yeah.
Okay.
My dream next is, so I've been working in the gym for a few years now, and what I've realized is disability within the fitness industry is like there's hardly any, and there's nothing out there. So my dream now is to kind of build and own my own gym and aim it at people with disabilities, older adults. In our area especially, there's lots of kids with obesity, so I want to target that and kind of help those that really need it. So that's my dream for the future now.
Yeah. So when are you going to start working on it?
This year. This is my goal. I do
Awesome.
I do motivational talks in schools. I go around schools talks telling my story to try and inspire those kids, especially as I was the only disabled kid in my school when I was growing up. So if I can get through to maybe a child that's feeling the same way and show them, look, I've done this, you can too, then that'd be amazing.
I love it, man. I love that. So yeah, well, best of luck with that, and leverage your High Rocks community to help do that. Seriously. Like, there's a lot of people with a lot of money in the High Rocks community. Right.
The aim this year is to get to the High Rocks World Champs. I hope I see you out there.
I will not be there this year, but I'm going to compete one more time, and I'm going to compete in 26. But I won't be at the World Championships for sure. But I'm not sure where at yet. It'll be a fourth quarter. They haven't announced a lot of the fourth quarter U.S. stuff yet, so we will do that. But yeah, it was just one of those things, man. I felt different. Like I was on a podcast the other day. I said, I'm not the same person I was the day that I entered High Rocks. I'm different.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your goals for this year?
I mean, to do another High Rocks, but I'm writing another book right now. So my first book was an international bestseller. I'm writing my second book right now. And and my speaking's really taken off. I got a message today. We're speaking at an event in February in Orlando, another one, and they sent the roster of speakers, right? And usually when I was new, I would get put on a different time, and maybe the second day, I got put as the second speaker with all these like powerhouse people, right? So like it's a big deal.
Wicked.
That's amazing opportunity. So, but what I've done though, in all fairness, Anthony's, I've leveraged High Rocks, I've leveraged my book, I've leveraged all these things to prove that I am who I say I am, right?
Yeah,
So I would tell you to do the same. Leverage everything you've accomplished, your world record, all those things to compress time, to build relationships, to get where you want to go.
I'd love to be the guy that kind of helps high rocks grow to show others that you can get into adaptive high rocks.
Yeah, I think you can be that guy for sure. Let High Rocks know that's what you want to do.
Yeah,
Okay.
get out there and just keep smashing it up.
Yeah, for sure. Look, man, it was a pleasure having you on here. It'll be released in a couple weeks. We'll tag you and everything on social media. We'll create a bunch of reels and content. So repost it, repurpose it, share it with everybody. And if you're
Amazing.
listening to this today and we recorded it and you want to help my guy get his gym rolling in London, shoot him a DM and we'll have all your contact information, all your socials and everything down inside, embedded into the notes of the show. Okay.
Amazing. Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.